mostly concerned about recreational water quality because that's what people are interested in, right? Because they're like, can I go swimming? Is it safe? Well, the other half of that is the E. coli. This graph actually an intern did last year. By the way, we do offer an internship with the Devils Lake Water Improvement District, so if this stuff kind of catches your fancy and you're interested in doing water quality, working in town, getting paid in the summertime, come see us. Because we actually do a water quality internship. And we have hired high school students for that program. One time it's normally offered to somebody that's actually got some college level experience in some labs, but there is that opportunity too, because we know that there's some talented people here and we want them to grow and learn. And use your lake resource or your bay or your wetland as your kind of classroom.
Yeah, and we're trying to have these trips for you guys so you guys have an understanding of the skills that you need to have, the tools that you use, so that you're a more qualified candidate to go for something like this. So, right, Bruce?
Yes, and you made it. That's a wonderful thing. All right, did you all keep those sheets with you?
Yeah.
The gear up sheets?
Yeah.
All right, well, then make mental notes so you can go back out there and do that. This is key and essential if we want to do this again, because we get more funding. We get more funding if we fill these sheets out. You following me? They're important.
Funding means time not in the classroom.
Yes. So there, put it in terms you like.
Yeah, and that's again the other part of it. Like when I said, okay, we study math and science, but we also study social science and communication, because you have to talk, you have to present your information to people so they'll understand and maybe even listen, that sort of thing. So very important to speak, to your audience effectively. Kind of an interesting thing for a lot of folks. What's the lake level today? Water temperature. People are interested in that. Is it 40 degrees out in the water right now, or is it 65? From 47 to 2015, where we're still talking about aquatic weeds. Yeah, it's actually 3.5. Yeah, because this is 7 miles of beaches down to about here, right? 7 miles of smiles they're kind of branding our beaches as. So 3.5 miles of lake. This lake is pretty shallow. Averages about couple 2-3 meters, right? Not too deep, 8 feet. The deepest point in Devil's Lake is about 22 feet. Colored in blue, obviously. As all lakes are, they're at the bottom of the hill, right? They're at the bottom of the hill. Well, what comes down the hill? Rain. What else comes down with the rain? Mud. Pollutants. Nutrients, which is like food, right? Nutrients. Things that actually grow the blue-green algae that we're concerned about, right?
Isn't there a dam down by the river to the lake?
There is a small summertime dam, yes. Yeah, it's about, that's not much water changes. It changes lake about that much. The board that I work for, the people that make those decisions, they have, in their most recent iteration, decided that, they want to keep that in common structure for recreation. Now, does it impact the lake and the flow? Yeah, absolutely. Does it impact the fish and wildlife? Yes, absolutely. And those are things that, as a research scientist or somebody that's presenting the information, you have to be clear and relay that. And then policymakers make their decisions. Now, they may weigh one thing more favorably compared to another thing, and science might not represent that, but that's their jobs. When you look at land use, which is like houses, or cattle, or forestry, or pavement, those are the dynamics that change the way that raindrop that you formerly just went through the forest and got to the lake, now hits the rooftop, runs off, hits the gutter, hits the asphalt, hits the dog poo on the way down, hits the fertilizer on the lawn, then hits the groundwater, and then oozes its way to the lake, carrying all that material, or much of it. Now that's a different thing, right? That's a change from 100 years ago, where there wasn't asphalt and rooftops and all that other infrastructure that has happened really since the turn of the previous century.
And how many of you know what a septic tank is? Raise your hands. Yeah, that's an issue too.
Yeah, yeah, and so septic tanks, of course, are, wastewater treatment plant for individual houses, right? You use the toilet, it goes in the septic tank, and it goes out to the field. Well, there's only some treatment in it, there's not 100%. So when that water that goes through that system comes out into the groundwater, it's still got some nutrients to it, some food for these blue-green algae.
Una is our water quality specialist, and she is going to talk to you guys a little bit about what she does for the Salmon Drift Creek Watershed Council's water quality program, and a little bit more about the context for some of the sampling that we're doing today, how to collect the best samples, and some of the samples that that she does that we're not going to do today, but you guys are going to see how it's done.
This is the Salmon River, and these little red dots are the sampling stations, and Devil's Lake, Rock Creek, Bear Creek. And so every 2 weeks, a group of volunteers go out to these stations and they take water samples, monitor for these parameters. So, you're familiar with them, I'm sure, at this point, because I know you were out in the field and you were using the instrument to measure them. But do you guys know what turbidity is? It's a measure of transparency in the water. So if you have really clear water, it's usually like 1 or 2. That's the unit that the value. And if you have like very muddy water, like after a big storm, and there's a lot of wash and runoff from the watershed and the riparian areas, then you might have a turbidity of 20 or 30, up to 200 or 300. Shade, cold water. It's called cold water refugia. So just remember that. It's kind of a cool term. Cold water refugia. It's a cold water refuge for the fish, and they need it. So that's why we'll do that.